today we are going to discuss noise pollution. So noise is generally considered as any unwanted or undesirable sound जो आपके लिए अच्छा ना लगे, आपको अच्छा ना लगे, आपको कहीं ना कहीं किसी न किसी वे में uncomfort feel कराए. That is called generally considered as that type of sound. We can say that generally considered as the noise. Mainly the noise pollution is nowadays increasing due to the, we can say, the rapid urbanization and industrialization and other mode, we can say also. It may lead to some sorts of discomfort, irritability to human being as well as animals, and along with this also some types of the physiological disturbances जो आपकी normal physiology phenomena है body की, उसको भी ये कहीं ना कहीं अफेक्ट करता है, अपना भी प्लस एनिमल्स का भी, एनिमल्स के प्रोडक्शन पैरामीटर को भी अफेक्ट करते हैं. सो जनरली साउंड का जो लेवल है और नॉइज का जो लेवल है, दैट इज मेजर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ by the use of the instrument that is called a sound level meter, and other be some instruments that we have to discuss later on. There are certain source of the well-known source, we can say, the sources of the sound or noise, we can say, that is the automobiles, various types of the factories or industries, aircrafts, vehicle horns, loudspeaker, radio, transistor, television, and each and everything nowadays we can see in our day-to-day use also. Along with this, a lot of things available for, you can say, the unwanted noise pollution. There are certain properties of the noise. So there are two important properties that we have to know at least, that is the loudness or intensity of the sound and frequency of the sound or noise, we can say. Loudness or intensity mainly depends upon the amplitude of vibration which they can say initiated the noise, and it is measured, the loudness of the sound or noise is measured in terms of the decibel. ये आपको मेमोरी में रखना है. I think most of the things you have studied previously in during your preparation or likewise. So loudness of noise is generally measured in terms of the decibel, and it's simple for understanding. When we are saying that this much decibel of the sound, it means this much decibel is more intense than the smaller जो भी distinguishables unit or reference value है sound pressure का, and that reference value is generally 0.0002 microwatt, or we can say dynes per centimeter square. That's given dyne is what is the dyne that is given here in bracket. So there are certain parameters which may affect the parameters, and that we can say the loudness of sound produced by the different day-to-day activity, maybe our activity or the animal activity of the animals. So there is a reference value that we are going to expose 85 decibel of the sound, that is considered as the tolerable limit of the sound noise, and without any substantial effect on your hearing, we can say. So 85 decibel of the loudness of the noise is considered as tolerable limit. ये आपको मेमोरी में रखना है. Now we can say for our normal conversation, we talk to each other. During talking to each other, we produce the noise level of about 60 to 65 decibel. Whispering, just like whispering means, I think all of you know, that is the फुसफुसाना, we can say, एक दूसरे के कान में जो बात करते हैं, that also produce a noise level of 20 to 30 decibels. Heavy traffic or street traffic, that produce 60 to 80 decibels of the noise. Boiler factories, that is again 120 decibel. Dairies 60 to 64 decibels. Dairies with provision of the fan or ventilation fan, with exhaust, we can say, simple wording में, that more than 80 decibels produce, and piggery feeding practices, then more than 100 decibels. Now the noise level of about 50 decibels, mainly considered as the calm environment. 85 decibel, that is the tolerable limit, and 50 decibel that represents a calm environment. ये भी आपके मेमोरी में रखना है. So now जो लिविंग रूम का जो हमारा डे टू डे एक्टिविटी है, that also produce a sound level or noise level of 40 to 50 decibels, a level of 140 decibels produced by the aircraft or airplane sound, that again may leads to the emergence of the or occurrence of the pain in the ear, we can say. So excessive sound 100 to 160 to 80 decibel the sound levels है that may leads to damage of our ear. ये रखना है थोड़ा साउंड माइंड में. In case of the human, noise beyond 15 decibel is generally not permissible or permitted. Sound level of 100 decibel for 2 hours or 90 decibel for 8 hours is generally considered as acceptable level. Now the second property of the noise is generally that is frequency of the noise and it is denoted in terms of the hertz. 1 hertz mainly it is equal to the 1 wave per second, and human ear have the hearing frequency from 20 to 20,000 hertz. Generally, as we know, from the below 20 hertz it is called as infraaudible noise, and above 20,000 hertz is called as ultrasonic sound, noise or sound. Many animals, as we know very well, dogs have the hearing capacity of the, you can say the more than, you can say that is infraaudible sounds. So जो हमारा ear नहीं सुन सकता है, that's also heard by the dogs, and sometimes जो noise है that is also expressed in the psychoacoustic terms, and that is measured in terms of phone, and that is the psychoacoustic index of loudness. इसमें both things are considered, that is the intensity as well as the frequency of the sound. There are certain instruments for noise study, that is the sound level meter. It measures the intensity of the sound in terms of the decibel and or decibel sound pressure levels, and octave band frequency analyzer. It is again a measures noise in octave bands, and that is we can, by which we can classify the sound or noise in high pitch sound, low pitch sound, variable pitch sound. And third is the audiometer that actually measures our hearing ability. Now some types of the effects on our body, we can say, or we have our hearing, maybe some effects related with our hearing capacity or effects on the ear or some others also. That's why its effect is classified in two ways, that is the auditory and non-auditory. Auditory effects, mainly auditory fatigue, mainly it is nothing, it is a temporary loss of the hearing, just कान बजना कहते हैं ना, that is whistling or buzzing of the ears, that is called as auditory fatigue. Simply, in simple way, we can say it is the temporary loss of the hearing capacity. कान बजने लगता है तो कुछ सुनाई नहीं पड़ता है, sound pollution लगता है कान के अंदर. So it appears at 90 decibel और जब बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, greatest at 4,000 hertz. Deafness or hearing loss, that is the temporary loss of the hearing capacity, again at frequency 4,000 to 6,000 hertz, and permanent loss of the hearing at continuous exposure to 100 decibel of the sound. Continuously आप लंबे पीरियड तक 100 decibel sound पे आप एक्सपोज हो रहा है हमारा ईयर, हम लोग एक्सपोज हो रहे हैं, then that may leads to the permanent loss of our hearing capacity. And permanent loss of the hearing may be due to the damage of inner ear, or maybe minor change in the hair cell endings, or you can say the rupture of the tympanic membrane. Generally, destruction of organ of corti leads to at continuous exposure at 100 decibels, and rupture of tympanic membrane leads to at a continuous exposure at 160 decibels. So these are some auditory effects, auditory fatigue, deafness, or loss of hearing, or you can say permanent loss of hearing due to the destruction of corti or rupture of tympanic membranes. Some non-auditory effects may be, that is interference with your speech. That is the most common at 300 to 400 hertz. We are unable to talk or make some speech to each other. Annoyance or irritation, you feel discomfort, irritated, maybe some high frequency of the sound. We can say it also the noise pollution leads to the reduction in our working efficiency. We can't work with our optimum capacity at a high level of the noise. Physiological change like increase in your blood pressure, increase in intracranial pressure, increase in heart rate, breathing, sweating, each and everything in excess than you can say that our normal physiological range. Other health effects, giddiness, nausea, fatigue, visual disturbance, stress, hormonal disturbance, cardiovascular problem, muscular rigidity. These are other, we can say, the non-auditory effect of the noise pollution. In animals also, the productions parameters gets lower or gets reduced with just like example in poultry, the egg productions have seriously affected in and the behaviors of the animals also gets changed. Now, how we can control some sorts of the noise pollution? However, it's not you can say the sufficient measures to reduce or to stop a full control of the noise pollution. But we can see here careful planning of the cities. If we plan the cities, or we can say the traffic area, roads, and our residential area or industrial area, likewise of each and every, we can say the every planned, or we can say in separate isolated zone, that we can somewhat, we can say, reduce the effect of the noise pollutions of the humans or animals. Likewise, control of the vehicles, improvement of acoustic insulation, that is the creations of the soundproof building, we can say, care in installation of industries or railways, protection of exposed persons by the, you can say, the strict legislation policy, and we like the education of the public. Thank you. छोटा सा है. नाउ कोई दिक्कत लग रहा है, फिर से रिपीट करना है तो वी कैन डिस्कस हियर.